Erik Ten Hag has gone ahead to express INEOS. While in Netherlands, I told you that we are gonna be knowing a lot about what happened behind the doors when INEOS had gone ahead to obviously do what we call the end of season review at Old Trafford. And guess what? Erik Ten Hag was well informed about everything, and INEOS just went ahead to obviously do something that Erik Ten Hag didn't even go ahead to obviously understand. And he was like, how come such things are really happening in England? And I don't know how this this conversation that's going to have with the Viot ball in Netherlands is really going to affect him and the INEOS. You know, he has hinted on how INEOS disturbed his holiday. He has hinted on how they do things differently, and how his contract negotiations are still ongoing in there onto the Old Trafford and Carrington side. Good morning. This is the 17th of June. Smash like button, comment and share. If you're only watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. And Rock and David is my name. Continue to subscribe to the Muslims. We thank Allah and for the gift of life I was going to give you, and you too have gonna hit obviously coming through to really enjoy your Eid Aduha and the late obviously thrill to this level. Now let's start it off with Erik Ten Hag and what we went ahead to say. Firstly, he said, Manchester United disturbed my holiday. They suddenly stood at my doorstep. Man United have told me that they spoke with Tuchel, but they eventually came to the conclusion that they already have the best manager. Now when you look at the backlash of the fans of Man United, obviously that's what they had to do, but they are willing to obviously sack Erik Ten Hag. If Thomas Tuchel had gone ahead to accept the job, they're willing to sack him. But I think by the time they went ahead to obviously get into the second meeting with Thomas Tuchel, they had gone ahead to find out that the fans had the manager as their favorite, known as Erik Ten Hag, and they're really very agitated for the process that INEOS had gone ahead to obviously take through the manager of Manchester United. And that's why they went ahead to put out stories that Tuchel couldn't obviously meet the exact expectations of Man United, and they decided to stick with Erik Ten Hag, something that was just a cover-up story, but we all knew to it that the main reason was Erik Ten Hag was going to be sacked, but they told him that they're talking to Tuchel, and they went ahead obviously get to know that he was the best manager. But it shows you how naive INEOS is, because how can you really talk to a manager like Thomas Tuchel when you're having Erik Ten Hag? You know, that is how bad it really sounds, and you just can't really do that. And it shows you how naive they are. I'm going to really bring another statement that shows you that these people are really naive. And the second statement says, did they call you about keeping the job? He said, Erik Ten Hag, Man United flew to me in Ibiza. So that means Laurie Whitwell was 100% right when he told us that they had to fly to Ibiza to obviously meet Erik Ten Hag and really tell him that he is gonna be kept in as the manager of Manchester United. You remember, he went ahead and put out that story and went ahead and obviously broadcasted in here and obviously let you know how the process really went. And finally, it is really confirmed by Erik Ten Hag. They flew to Ibiza, and the delegation was led by Dave Bresfold. And it being led by Dave Bresfold, it really resulted into results, and we saw to it that a lot has gonna hit to coming through. So to it that yields have gonna hit obviously come up into huge product into the mix. So that is what went ahead to get from the man himself, known as Erik Ten Hag. They flew to Ibiza to talk to him and take the good news to him, and they had disturbed his holiday. That is it, because for the 2 weeks I was supposed to be there, they had the same number of days they took, or it's the same duration they took to obviously distort his holiday in as a manager. Then they asked him, and he said, INEOS took their time. They are new in football. It's normal. to reflect the season. It's not secret that they talked with multiple candidates. Here in Holland, this is not done. In fact, it's not even allowed here. But in England, they have different rules and laws. So, Erik ten Hag was speaking with pain, though he was like, I'm not bothered because I'm gonna hate to keep my job. But it shows how stupid and how naive INEOS is. If you are to conduct such an activity, you would conduct it when the season is really going on, right? And you do it when you know the results. But how do you go to start interviewing other managers who are not even to the ilk of this guy, Erik ten Hag? And he says it's illegal in Netherlands, but in England it's really acceptable. But it is really very bad. It's really very bad. And I think Ten Hag was speaking with pain, and it shows how naive these people have gone ahead to be. And I tell you what, it's not really great. It's not really great for what they went ahead to do for Erik ten Hag. But good thing is that he has gone ahead to prove them wrong, and is doing exactly what we really think of him. And he's here, and the transfers are really gonna be kickstarting on. He's the manager of Man United, and thank God that he is here and is back to Netherlands. And after Netherlands, I think a week from now, Erik ten Hag will be flying back to England to see to it that he really starts to obviously plan for the pre-season for the club of Manchester United. Now, Erik ten Hag said, the Netherlands, we played excellent. The first game is always very difficult. I watched the first game in 1988 in the stadium, and we lost that game. But today was a very deserved victory. Obviously, today, Netherlands have gone here to play some beautiful game of football. They won by 2-1. Wout Weghorst scoring the winner coming off the bench. Cody Gakpo leveling up after, Buska went ahead to obviously score the first goal of the game. And Netherlands had to really come from behind, really level it up, and then later Weghorst went ahead to obviously lead that beautiful game of football. And to me, it's a good start for the team I support. I also support Netherlands, and I love the team. Now, he went ahead to look a little bit into England. He was asked on to why Grealish and Rashford never went ahead to make it to the Euro squad, and he said, Grealish and Rashford were both lacking this season, and when you are lacking, you risk not getting picked for your country. And he has gone ahead, obviously, speak the truth about Marcus Rashford, that please, you are really lacking. You were really lacking, and they don't really deserve to be at the Heroes. And that should be a wake-up call for Marcus Rashford, that if you thought you had bought a plot in the team of England and no one could obviously take you out, now there are other players that have gone ahead obviously raise up to the occasion, and you cannot really compete with them. That is something huge that they need to know and understand, and we hope he kickstarts the season very well. But I would prefer selling Marcus Rashford, because I don't think that he's going to come out and obviously take the side of Manchester United to the levels that we expect this side of Man United to be at. So that is Erik ten Hag talking about Marcus Rashford into the mix. And lastly, he said, Manchester United and I still have to find an agreement for the new contract. This isn't easy. This isn't easily done. We are still going to talk. We are still going to have talks about this. So, Erik ten Hag is really serious on what he really wants to be in the contract, and he's a man who is like, if you don't want me here, and if at all you don't want to obviously put what I want in the contract, I'm gonna show you my back and leave the club, and maybe you guys get into another manager. And INEOS will have to dance to this, because the time is gone. We are running short of time. You can't tell me that it is really gonna be this long for us to go to the preseason. Soon we'll be in the preseason, and a lot will obviously be onto the cards. But one thing to remember is INEOS might be doing this to obviously elongate it, to see if they get in a manager that they want, and really put out a story that Erik ten Hag failed to comply with what we wanted in the contract, and we've gone ahead to part ways, So you cannot really think that it's all over until it's over. until when we feel that he has gonna hit, obviously put pen to paper. Though it's 95% done, there's some other clauses they're still yet to agree on in between Erik ten Hag and INEOS. So guys, I call upon for your reactions into the comment section below about the hints onto Erik ten Hag exposing this guy known as INEOS. Do you think INEOS did what was right, or they did what was wrong in there for you? So good morning, I'm going to bed. See you later, bye bye and good night.